want to take off ideally right into the wind.
Okay.
Thankfully at this airport we have multiple runways, so we get a real good choice of that wind direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull off to the side of this taxiway, and I'm going to turn the plane into the wind, and I'm going to do an engine run-up. The run-up is just to put some stress on the engine, so we can make sure that the ignition system is operating properly. So this engine is a 4-stroke, 4-cylinder engine, but it has 8 spark plugs, 2 ignition systems, so 2 spark plugs per piston.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put stress on the engine. I'm watching my RPM with tack gauge.
Bravo, November Golf, 3 miles south of the field.
Bring it up to 4,000 RPM.
We'll be cross overhead the field at 2,200.
Now that I'm at 4,000 RPM, I'm going to shut off 4 of the 8 spark plugs by doing this with the key. It's still operating at 3,900. Now I'm going to turn all 8 back on, see if it goes back to where it was. And now I want to check the other 4. And they're matched. 39 and changed, we're good. So we have redundancy, right? If anything fails, we're ready to use the other ignition system.
I had a snowmobile like that once, had two plugs per cylinder.
Oh, really?
I couldn't shut them off though.
Okay.
It was an old what was it now? It was 72 Arctic Cat, I think it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So right now I'm just looking if there's any traffic coming into the area. I don't see anybody, so I'm going to go out on this runway and backtrack all the way to the beginning of it, and we're going to take off in this direction. I'm going to make a radio announcement here.
Edenvale traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee is backtracking 3-1 for immediate departure.
So every once in a while we're going to hear other pilots talking. They can't hear us unless we push the trigger on the front of the stick.
Bravo, November Golf, 1 mile south of the field, 2,200. And we'll be cross overhead the field for the turnaround procedure and be joining Midland Wind 31, Bravo, November Golf.
So what to expect? Since I was just in the air right before you guys came here, it's a handful today at low altitudes. The higher we get, the smoother it will get. For the takeoff roll, I'm going to be in control of the aircraft. I'm going to climb us out to about 2,500 feet above sea level. And from there, I'm going to get us away from the vicinity of the airport and then start showing you how to control this thing.
Okay.
The range of motion I'm going to need on the stick for the climb is like this, so we're fine.
Okay.
I'll try my best not to drill you.
That might be a good thing.
Yeah.
Edenvale traffic, Bravo, November Golf, overhead the field, 2,200. For the turnaround procedure, we'll be descending 1,700 and joining Midland Wind 31, Bravo, November Golf.
All right, so this is going to be, like I said, probably a little bit eventful once we get off the ground because the winds are very strong right now. But if you're ready, I'm ready.
Sure.
Edenvale traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees on the roll 3-1, going to be a straight out departure, climbing to 2,500 en route to Wasaga Beach.
I'm just going to point something out to you before we lift off. Have a look at this. This is our altimeter.
Are you going to be staying at 25?
Okay. Above sea level?
1 second.
Maybe between 25 and 3,000 and traveling probably towards the Midland area.
Oh, okay. I'm going to be towards Collingwood, 3,000.
So it's already at 720 because this airport is 720 above sea level.
North of the field, 1,800
so here we go.
1,700. And we'll be crossing overhead the field to join Midland Wind 31, Edenvale.
I'm gently pulling back on this control stick because the wind's going to grab us quickly. There we go, we're off the ground.
Holy shit, that was quick.
Yep. The power to weight ratio in this aircraft is phenomenal.
Apparently.
All right, so now I just got to navigate through all this crazy wind until we get higher. This is going to be fun. There's some good ones.
Yeah, apparently.
It's completely normal what's going on. There's nothing dangerous happening right now. It's just, it makes me exercise.
I know it's tightening my sphincter up.
Yeah.
You might miss a piece of the seat.
It'll get better.
Edenvale traffic, India Kilo Zulu Bravo, backtracking 3-1.
I remember years ago there was the time we went with my sister, the guy flew over Dyer's Memorial up in Huntsville on the Big East River, and we hit an air pocket. It was probably, we only dropped that far, but it felt like 150
I know.
feet.
Yeah.
And he said for some reason there was always an air pocket around them on just the way the wind, the hills, and all that sort of shit. But yeah,
that's right.
Well, I was only about 15, so
Yeah, it's weird. You get some spots that are like that. It's like a little curse for pilots, and we have to plug through them.
Well, yeah, but you can't see them, so you don't know they're there until you hit them,
is joining Midland on wind 31.
So we're now 1,000 feet over the ground because the needle's on 1,700.
Doesn't look like 1,000.
Yeah, it's the fields have a tendency to be deceptive.
Yeah. Cars are awful small, but yeah, it doesn't look like with the fields, it doesn't look that far, basically.
Approaching altitude.
I just want to get us to a nice altitude that you're not getting beat up. See, there's some calmer air coming right here. I almost feel that. See how it's not...
Oh shit, yeah, there's a big difference.
Not kicking our ass anymore.
Leaving altitude.
So just to give us a nice cushion, I'm going to bring this thing to 3,000 feet above sea level.
Bravo Golf, starting base 31.
Yeah, it's nice and stable up here.
Yeah, big difference, a couple hundred feet, right?
Where did you drive from today?
Huntsville.
Oh, okay.
It's actually good traveling.
Yeah.
For a change. Of course, this early in the morning is always good.
Yeah.
And I've lived basically I live just south of Huntsville, about 4 or 5 kilometers.
Okay.
And there's a big, if it's a nice sunny day like this on a Sunday,
yep.
You go early. Like you leave, if you got to go south, you go before noon, because after lunch, 2 o'clock, everybody's staying at the cottage as long as they can, and then all of a sudden it's all hell breaks loose heading south.
That's right.
Edenvale traffic, this is Foxtrot, Whiskey November Yankee. Approximately 12 miles south of Edenvale Airport at 3,000 feet, inbound for Edenvale Airport.
Edenvale traffic, Bravo Nova Golf, turning final 31, full stop.
Alright, so I'm switching off that frequency so we don't have to listen to them anymore.
Okay.
The only problem is we're now in another very busy airspace over here, which we're going to hear a lot of pilots speaking
Golf
from
Charlie November,
Collingwood over there,
Sierra X-Ray
and Midland over here. I'm just going to circle us around this park, and the reason why I don't want to fly over it is that is a drop zone for skydiving.
Oh.
And I don't want to have a meat missile hit us.
Imagine it's a lot of paperwork.
I wouldn't want to find out, man.
Is that the Wasaga we're going over?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was thinking it was more that way, but...
The mouth of it starts over there at Wasaga. You'll see right over there where...
Okay, yeah. Goes on an angle right behind, basically behind the beach.
Yep.
We used to go fishing salmon up in Angus all the time.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. There was some serious fishing in Angus on the Wasaga.
We went down there one night at 3 o'clock in the morning, and there was more people lined up and down the river at 3 o'clock in the morning than there was at 8 o'clock in the morning.
I was probably one of those guys, man.
Yeah, you had to grease your shoulders to get there, basically. Yep. And some of them were as dumb as a bag of hammers. I got one 21.6 pounds one time.
Ooh.
And
Golf Charlie November Alpha,
this is Sierra X-Ray Lima. The store was in Barrie. He had a fish derby.
Yeah, sorry.
And I had entered it that morning. We stopped.
Yeah, are you running up or backtracking?
And I caught that one that day. We went in about 2 or 3 o'clock and waited.
The run up,
I got second place in the derby. I probably got about $500
I'm going to backtrack for 3-1.
I lost by an ounce.
Oh,
the guy that beat me had 26 or 21.7 ounces.
Wow. Yeah.
Early traffic damage on Sierra X-Ray Lima, backtracking 3-1.
It was a fat fish. But they used to just piss me off more than anything. You go across the bridge and you see them, they're like tuna in there for Christ's sake, and they wouldn't bite.
Yeah.
Then you see them coming up the river with a lamprey on them, jumping like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, those evil lampreys.
Midland traffic, Romeo's over the field at 1800, we'll be crossing over to join mid-left downwind for 3-4.
So we're safely at 3,000 feet above sea level.
Collingwood traffic, Charlie November Alpha.
We're flying relatively level. The plane's really flying itself at this point.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you how to work this thing. You might as well put your left hand on that control stick.
Okay.
And I'm just going to walk you through the basic motions of some turning and stuff. So we use the wings to turn in an aircraft.
Okay.
The stick is responsible for steering the wings. It does this roll axis, we call it.
Okay.
So in order to do a turn to the right, we're just going to take the stick and just pull it a little bit like this to the right. You'll notice if we don't pull it back, it will go on its side. So we're going to push it back. now we're back to level again. And we'll do a turn to the left. You'll notice very little input is needed. There you go. Nice little turn to the left happening. And notice how I stopped with my hand there. If not, it would keep rolling. Now we'll pull it back. Basic motions of roll. The next thing we control with the stick is our pitch, up versus down. So currently we are flying level. I know that through experience because I know where the horizon should be to be a level aircraft.
Okay.
However, we have an instrument that will tell us that as well. This one right here.
Yeah.
If it's on the 0, we're flying level. If it's dancing like that, you're still level. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
When I take the stick and pull back towards us and pitch up, the needle will start climbing. See that?
Okay.
That's the rate in which we are in a climb. This shows that we're climbing, and our airspeed will reflect that as well by starting to reduce, because we're now going uphill.
Yeah.
I did not add any more power for this climb, so if I want to continue the climb, I'm going to add a little bit of power by pushing the throttle in. I want to keep this plane above 60 knots at all times. Keep us nice.
This is
yep.
then? Yeah.
That's our airspeed. So now we're at 65 knots in a nice climb. You can see we're climbing. Our engine's not in the red line or yellow line. Everything's great.
What is
traffic? Romeo turning
stall? I guess it'd be on this. Like
the stall in perfect conditions in this aircraft is 38 knots, but that's also perfect conditions.
Yeah.
So the stall speed changes depending on your airspeed. Sorry, not your airspeed. Your air angle of turn.
Yeah.
So if we're in a serious turn, that stall speed could be 45, could be 55.
Yeah.
So that's why I say if we fly this plane above 60, we're always safe usually.
Okay.
So there, I just pitched forward a little bit to level us off at 3,500 feet. We're flying along nice and straight. If I want to go down, opposite, just push that stick forward. You'll notice we're going down.
Yeah.
You have confirmation we're going down. This thing really shows you, and our airspeed increases. So I'm now just going to reduce power a little bit because I don't want to start screaming at 120 knots just to descend. So I'm controlling the airspeed by the stick pressure on this. If I want to slow down, I pull back. Notice it's going 90 knots, 89, 88, still very safe. We're above 60. And if I want to increase my speed of descent, I just push the nose down. We'll go back down to 3,000 feet.
Is that what they call Y Marsh or whatever over there?
That one I believe is Tiny Marsh.
Oh, it is sort of tiny.
Yeah. Alright, so there we go. I just added our cruise power again. We're cruising nice and level. So those are the basic motions of the stick. I recommend you get your legs down further. Get yourself comfortable.
I didn't want you to...
Don't worry about it. As long as you're loose on your feet, I'll show you the rudders after. Let's get you used to the stick first.
Okay.
So feel free just to look outside, look at the world around you, and start playing with the turns and seeing how sensitive it is. You have control of the aircraft. My hand is close by for emergencies. That's it. One of the harder things I find that people have to do at the beginning of flying is doing turns and stuff like that without climbing and descending. You're going to find that little fight in you, and you will get better within this 40 minutes, that's for sure.
That's just it. You got so many things to watch and worry about.
Yep. Now, ideally, for your first few hours of flying, I always recommend try to keep your eyes outside of the cockpit at all times.
Okay.
And only peek at that as a reference.
Okay.
If you start flying by looking at the screen, you will be all over the sky because you're going to be chasing it.
Well, yeah, like you say, it's bouncing, so you're trying to adjust for that too. Water looks a lot bluer up here.
Yeah.
Must not be warm yet. There's nobody in it.
Yeah, it's definitely not warm yet.
I know, I was in it last year about this, or 2 years ago about this time, trying to work on a boathouse.
Oh, geez.
I had to go and buy a wetsuit because my legs couldn't handle it.
I guess
and I had
so.
to put them in chest waders.
F31, departure south to Brampton.
So we're cruising along safely at 3,100 feet above sea level. Your turning is decent.
Hey, you don't realize this. I look at maps all the time. Just, I don't know, something for me to do. But you don't realize this is like this until you actually get up here. Like it looks different on a map. But.
Of course. So the one area we have to avoid right here is directly in front of us is Midland Airport. You probably won't recognize it yet because you can't see the runway that runs this way. See those white buildings there littered in the center of that forest?
Yeah.
That's the airport. So we just want to stay away from it or go around it.
Calling the traffic, Charlie November Alpha, rolling 3-1, left turn on the back. Having the field transfer down, it's not much person available left on the back.
It's rather small.
What's that?
The airport looks rather small from here.
3,000.
It looks small, but it's a big airport.
Collingwood.
It's got a 4,000-foot runway,
No, I just saw it.
paved runway, real nice professional operation.
What are they doing with the Edenvale one? Just expanding it? Or?
Expanding and expanding.
Yeah. I noticed everything looked new there, but it was with all the
Okay, we're planning to get fuel, so
construction equipment over on the other side yet.
Yeah.
We do that.
Roger, we'll head for the pump.
Yeah, this summer they're having a huge concert there.
Oh, I seen something about it.
Leonard
Rock?
Skinner, Kid Rock, yeah.
Across the air, X-ray Victor at 5 miles.
I wouldn't walk across the street to see Kid Rock, but the Leonard Skinner wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
Joining the cross over the field, joining the
Thought I shut my ringer off.
with 3-4, a report over the field.
We just bought a big boat last year for the. We bought a big boat last year.
Oh, nice.
To put out in, we're going to put it on Perry Island, up Perry Sound.
Southwest, 10 miles out.
20, what is it, a 29 foot. It's an old boat, but it's in good shape. The old fellow that had it, he said, he said, my wife and I used to use it all the time. He said, but now that she's gone, and I looked it up on like all the websites, and the cheapest one was about 15,000 US.
Oh, yeah.
I got it for 1,500 bucks.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it was, and another thing too, it had to be out of the marina at Hamilton Harbor.
Okay.
Because they were, the city was taking the marina away from the guy.
Yep.
Canceled the lease or whatever it was. So there was a pile of sailboats and stuff down there that had to go.
Really?
Like people were selling them for $500-600 just to get them out of there because
geez.
they had to pay for disposal if not. And there was a guy bought one for, I think it was $500 or $1,000. Come in and cut it all into pieces and took the motor out and took off with it. Left all the pieces sit over by the dumpster.
Unbelievable. You're doing really good at this.
I used to play on the computer.
Yeah. No, whatever you've been doing, it works good.
Yeah, it was. I had a joystick and everything on the computer, but
yeah,
there's a big difference from on there when you crash. You just hit the restart button.
That's true too.
Look, I survived again.
That's all right. So to complicate matters, I'm going to talk to you now about the other control motion we have, which is our yaw axis, which is this motion.
Okay.
So we have roll that you know how to do now, pitch, and yaw. Yaw is done with our feet.
Okay.
We have the rudder sticking up in the back, similar to a boat. The difference from a boat, though, is the boat's connected to the water in a way, so there is some serious friction there.
Yeah.
And it tends to dig and turn, so we use our rudder to do that. Since we're not connected to the ground and we're essentially flying around in a slick oil, which is air, as you're in a turn, the plane will have a tendency to have the tail drift or skid in the turn, like sort of like fishtail.
Yeah.
No different than high horsepower. You got your foot on that throttle on the dirt and you feel that ass end break way on you. That's what's happening in a turn in the plane. The way we know it's happening without feeling it is this ball. If the ball is in the center of those two little lines, the theory is that the tail is following the nose in a straight line. You'll notice once in a while, you'll see the ball drifting off to the side. That means the tail's kind of a little bit crooked to where we want to go. So we straighten that with our feet. If the ball is on the left side, we step on our left foot, and that will bring the ball back into the center line. So if you start doing a turn towards Penetang, which is that bay over there, once you get into a turn, you'll notice that the ball might move a little bit, and it depends on our airspeed if it's going to hang this way or this way. So far, it's very stable.
I like the fact you can look all over the place.
Oh yeah, this bubble canopy is awesome.
Well, like the other planes I was in, you had the side window and you were looking at the nose of the plane, the prop most of the time. Yeah. So yeah, you were looking at the side or at the wing most of the time.
And the traffic, Kilo Bravo currently just between Orr Lake and the town of Elmvale inbound for Midland. We're going to cross overhead the field to join a mid left 434. We are 2.3 right now.
Here someplace close, isn't he?
Yeah, he's on the southeast side of the airport.
Circuit height, I'll be joining the circuit mid-left down.
So just to give you an idea how much these rudders affect what's going on, I'm going to push them a little bit while you kind of watch the nose first. So as I push my left foot down, it's going to yaw left. See that?
Oh yeah.
And now right. Left, right. Well, now we're swinging. We're fishtailing, like we're skiing. That's exactly what we're doing now. The reason why that becomes extremely important to learn how to use is if we're traveling a far distance based on a compass heading, like we know we want to get to North Bay and we got to fly compass heading 360 for an hour. If we fly 360 and do not correct for the wind, we're probably going to be drifting like this with the wind. So we have to apply the right amount of rudder to correct for wind drift, steer the plane, the nose of the plane into that wind a little bit and crab so we get to our destination. It also becomes extremely important for landing and taking off. We want to make sure those tires are facing straight down the runway when they touch and not sideways for a side load, which could cause us to cartwheel.
I thought you had to, well, like if you were turning really sharp,
you do
use them.
Absolutely.
Use it quite a bit, I guess.
Yep. So the sharper you turn, if you don't have enough airspeed for the turn, the tail will hang this way. If you're doing a right turn, it will start hanging like this. If you have too much speed, it'll lift up in the turn and start pushing your nose down. So that's when we start playing with the rudders in the turn, and you peek at that ball just to keep it straight. Now, I try my best. I try not to teach people stunt flying because that's not what I do. I'm a flight instructor. I just teach you to get your license. That stuff is usually left for aerobatic pilots, and they'll teach you all that crazy stuff.
No, I'm not much for that. I just used to seeing, like, I watch a lot of videos or whatever, and that's what, like, they're turning really sharp or whatever. And they're using everything they got, basically.
You're giving her. So that's Christian Island over there.
Oh, okay. Is that where they have the big, what the hell is it, poker run or something I see advertised every now and then?
Potentially.
Okay. Great big boats and whatnot.
So we're going to have to start making at least a turn back in the vicinity we came from. Feel free to do it. I recommend a left turn. And if you want to start playing around with anything, like while you're turning,
I think we'll just get used to this stuff.
See that? So add a little bit of left foot. There you go. Bingo. So that's what we call a coordinated turn. There's no harm in doing it uncoordinated as long as it's not really uncoordinated. This aircraft is very, very forgiving. We're going to continue all the way in that direction. This aircraft is very forgiving.
Alpha, we're 3,500, 5 miles south of the field. We're eastbound. We'll be turning around to go westbound, cross overhead the field, and turn a mid-left downwind, 34 Midland.
Nice. Beautiful turn, beautiful altitude control too.
Here to the active. Midland traffic, Quebec Tango Romeo, turning final for 34.
Seems a lot further across the bay when you're driving.
Well, we're doing, we were doing about 85 knots or so. It's like 155K. So we're moving.
Yeah, we went to, what was it, Dominican this year when we took off from Toronto. I could feel my ass going sideways on the jet, So you wouldn't, well, me personally, you don't think with the jet pushing you, like it's got to be damn windy to push the jet sideways with that much power pushing you straight ahead.
Traffic limit there's 5 to the south.
It could be that. Most likely, it's just the pilot doing what we do is play with their feet.
You got visual on Gulf Victor Alpha. We are northbound approximately 5 miles.
Yeah, looking at one of those in the cockpit and then looking at this, it's just...
Negative. No,
I'd probably kick every switch trying to get in the damn thing the way they've got them everywhere. No wonder they have to have an engineer there. I couldn't remember what all was there.
We're at 3,300 descending to circuit altitude.
I would have thought, well, a lot more planes, that's what I was thinking today would happen.
Well, there is, but they're all below us right now.
Yeah, I was thinking it because of the sunny, basically sunny day.
Yeah, well, sunny days pilots normally don't like to fly.
No?
Sunny days are the roughest, most turbulent days.
Well, that's what somebody told me before, but...
Yeah, the best days are overcast.
Yeah. Really?
Overcast day, yeah. Mild temperatures are the best, smooth. The air is still like this.
Yeah.
But you'll notice when we go back to land and we go back to 1,700 feet, we're going to get our ass kicked.
Why is that, basically?
That is from thermals. So the thermals are the sun. The sun is right above us right now, almost.
Okay.
Like when it's noon and 2 o'clock, it's right above us.
Yeah.
As the sun's energy hits the earth, it heats the air above these fields, and the air has nowhere to go but up. So it comes radiating up at a fast rate and punches the belly of the plane. The lower to the ground, the more violent it is.
Okay.
And heavy inbound.
That's why pilots typically do exactly what we're doing. They'll fly over the coastline because as the sun hits the water, all the energy warms the water and doesn't bounce up.
Doesn't come up, okay.
Yeah, just until I get 2 off the ramp here.
It's a good thing to do for stability of the aircraft, but you're right now in a very busy traffic area and you got to look for other planes and they catch up to you quickly, right?
Yeah.
I see you. Commander coming off the ramp southbound now. So if you can pull out of the way there, just go up into the T hangars and do a 180 and there's a 150 coming out as well.
That Lake Zipco over there?
It is. Yeah, off in the distance, yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Midland traffic, Kilo Zulu Bravo is turning left base for 34.
So you're still in a gradual climb. We're almost at 4,000 feet now.
On the taxiway south, we'll be positioning 3-4 for departure after a short...
You're controlling this thing very well.
Lima Towers overhead for mid downwind 3-4.
As you're in a descent, I'm reducing the throttle.
And the traffic, Kilo Zulu Bravo is now on base lake, getting ready to turn final for 3-4. We'll land long.
Yeah, I would have thought this was... I was expecting like a lot trickier. But I guess with something different it might be, yeah, but this is, like you say...
This is a very forgiving aircraft, that's why I use it in my school to teach people.
Yeah.
Other aircrafts will be much more challenging. Now keep in mind we're also in some stable air up here.
Yeah.
Once we get lower, you're going to have your hands full. Yeah. It's going to start bumping you around and you're going to have to start fighting the winds.
Yeah, like you say, it's I don't know. Just in the 3,000 feet, basically, there's...
Midland traffic, Gulf Victor Alpha, we're 2 miles to
different
the east
levels,
of the
I guess,
field,
there'd be
2,500 descending, 1,800 overfly the field, join a mid-left downwind, 3-4.
I don't see any fish.
Okay, you can come on up to the ramp now.
Thank you. Lima Towers turning base, Midland.
What are these on the...
Montreal Sky Service, this is Gulfstream November 2.
Those are airports.
Oh, okay.
Good morning. We should be there. We should be on the ground. We have our one passenger. There should be a driver picking up our passenger. We have that airside.
Edenvale getting to be a busy airport?
Yeah, quite busy.
I figured it, like, because all the building and shit going on over here in Collingwood, people flying in and whatnot.
Yep.
15 over 34.
They just opened a service in Muskoka, at the Muskoka airport for
okay, we check the drivers.
Muskoka to Toronto for $50.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
We'll be there in approximately 20 minutes.
That's handy.
Yeah, it is. I was talking to a lady. She's been taking her kid down to St. Kitts.
Yeah.
And like she said, it's a bitch in traffic because she's got to be there. She either got to go down the day before or later in the day. And she said in Huntsville Hicks basically aren't used to that.
Yep.
I drove truck for 10 years. And I was all over the States and everywhere. And the worst goddamn city there is Toronto.
Oh, it is. No, you're right. You're right.
Fucking nightmare.
I know.
I used to hate, and then when you come in from the States someplace, they say, oh, do you want to do city work today? No, I don't. I just drove 2,500 miles. I don't want to run around this shithole.
Yep. Yeah, Toronto is absolutely terrible for traffic. I've drove a lot of U.S. cities, and they're a dream compared to Toronto.
Well, they all have, like, bypass.
Yeah.
Like, to get around it, you don't have to go through the damn things, where Toronto, you going right through the middle of it, one way or the other.
Traffic Commander Charlie Golf Oscar, Zulu backtrack.
It must not pay attention.
No, it doesn't.
Midland traffic, Gulf Victor Alpha, returning mid-left downwind, 3-4 Midland.
we came from right over there. That's Edenvale Airport in that direction.
Okay, I think I see it. Here, that's another spot.
Yeah, it's hard to identify if you're not used to seeing it from up here. Most of the airports take a while to start getting to understand where they are.
Well, I was looking at the map you got on the wall in there, in the circles.
Oh yeah.
See them? And I guess there's a lot of private ones that you don't notice until you fly over them. But
yes, sir.
Just the major ones, I guess. I like the way that circle is out there where the muddy water comes down. That's pretty cool. Or is that shallow? Or like, is that shallow there?
That'll just be the Wasaga mud coming out.
That's what I was thinking, but imagine there's a fair bit of it.
Oh yeah.
I always wondered why I went to Angus fishing and they all swim right by here.
Yep.
You idiot. They're whipped when they get up there. No wonder they don't want to bite. No, when I'm tired, I don't want to eat.
So we're going to have to start heading that way towards the airport. Yeah, you have a real nice sensitive touch on the stick, which is really important when it comes to learning how to fly.
And don't just slam it sideways and hope for the best.
Don't slam sideways, don't be jerky, you're just being nice and gentle, and that's all you need.
Traffic, Commander Charlie Golf, Oscar rolling.
So this park directly in front of us, down right in front of us, this green grass.
Oh, that's the high diver.
Yeah, let's go around it this way.
Okay. There's some meat missiles, that's it.
That's right. So we'll just go maybe a little bit further left. We've still got a bit of time. I want you to see what it's like to get a little bit of turbulence.
Drop out, turning left, final 34 Burlington. We are number 1 behind the traffic just taking off.
So you'll notice as we start getting over top of land and leaving the water, you're going to probably start feeling a little bit of shifting around happening.
Yeah, notice it's not much right yet, but it's starting to.
Yep.
Cessna 150, Golf Tango Whiskey Charlie at Edenvale, taxiing Delta to hold short of 31.
I was part of the, last weekend I was working for a TV show.
Oh yeah.
Driving people around.
Yep.
I drove a couple of the producers around on Friday, and then I drove one producer around on Saturday. And they had planes, had the teams come in, and they flew in from Toronto in a float plane.
Oh yeah.
They left. The one producer got a text. He said they just lifted off at 6:31 and they landed in Port Carling at 7:03 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they had a helicopter chasing the planes for filming or whatever.
Yeah.
If you want to bet, we can bet on who wins the Amazing Race, Canada version.
Yeah, you know, I haven't even caught much of it at all. So.
Well, it hasn't started yet. This one here, they just finished filming on Saturday.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was all they go like crazy for a month.
So see the airport there? We want to avoid it because we're not at the legal altitude yet to be close to it.
Okay.
So what you're going to start to do is in this direction, you're going to start descending down to 1,700 feet.
Delta backtracking, departure 31.
Just allow the nose to come down. The lower we get, the more violent it's going to get.
Oh yay.
I'm ready to take over at any time. We're still quite high.
How close, or like what's the altitude for the like to go near the airport?
1,700 feet.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah,
Okay.
so 1,000 feet above the ground.
How far out do we got to be roughly?
We're pretty much good here. What we're going to do is get to 1,700 and do a big loop, and then we're going to fly right over top of the airport.
Oh, okay.
I'm surprised it's not really bumpy yet, but it's coming.
In the right direction.
It's coming. I'm just reducing the throttle.
Remember, I went up with a guy up in Huntsville, just a little Cessna thing. We were sitting side by side. And he said, and he never told me nothing about it. He just did it.
Yeah.
I said, what the hell are you doing? He said, well, when I was taken to school, he said, they told me the best way to get down is cut power. I could count the times the prop was going around. I said, well, could you not cut it so much all of a sudden?
Well, that's what we do.
Well, it scared the shit out of me. I thought he quit. I wasn't paying attention to what he was doing.
So here's our 1,700 feet now. I'm going to add some power again. There we go. We're cruising along safely. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to just do a big rounded turn to the left until we point back towards Edenvale.
158 Tango Whiskey Charlie departing 31 Edenvale, the left turn at Collingwood.
Edenvale traffic, SportStar India, Juliet Kilo Yankee is 4 miles east of the field at Circuit Heights. Going to cross overhead the field, join a mid-left downwind at 3-1.
I just had to announce our intentions.
Okay.
So the airport's over there. So we're just going to maintain this 1,700 feet and we're going to fly straight over the center of the airport. So right there is your direction. Yeah, there's some strong wind right now. It's drifting you this way. You're going to have to compensate a little bit to the right. That's right. It's tricky, huh?
It is. Glad you're running the throttle. I'd be busier than a one-legged man at an ass-kicking contest.
Leaving altitude.
Yeah, whenever you start getting these thermal lifts, it's hard to control that altitude.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to push it down, but I didn't want to go right into a perfect nosedive.
It's okay. You're okay.
Approaching altitude.
There we go. That was getting rough.
Yep. Yeah, well, this airport has like one of those, like we were talking before, just a weird, it's going to get really rough right near it.
You think they'd have put it someplace else?
Yeah, you know, it's got to be the change of hard fields and then trees and then hard fields
well, yeah,
again.
It's the only treed area in the whole place, basically. That,
yep.
Like the most.
All right, looking good. So we're just going to see that big blue hangar all by itself.
Yep.
We want to fly over top of it.
I'm attempting it.
Yeah.
The way I'm going, I'll be lucky to hit the field right now.
Yeah, your finger hit the radio button, but it's okay.
I heard that. That's just it. I keep creeping up on the handle, basically.
Yeah.
With my grip.
You're kicking ass, actually. You're doing really well.
Couldn't fall out now if I tried. My sphincter's got a hold of this seat so tight.
Well, I'll take over in a moment here because it's going to get really crazy.
Edenvale traffic, Tango Whiskey Charlie 150, 4 miles to the west-northwest of Edenvale, 2000 en route to Collingwood switching.
Edenvale traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee is overhead the field to join the mid-left downwind, 3-1 for a full stop.
Up and down here like a whore's pants.
Yeah, she's windy, man. So it's going to get really damn busy here. You want me to take over?
I think so.
All right, I got her. I have control. Awesome job, man. I think you did kick ass.
There.
Oh yeah, there's those thermals.
Yeah, now my blood pressure can come back down.
That's right. You want to enjoy it, right? So I'm flying about 1 kilometer past the runway.
Okay.
And then I'm going to make a left turn in that direction. We call it our downwind leg.
Okay.
Edenvale traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees turning mid-left downwind, 3-1.
The same procedure is done at pretty much every airport in the world. This left turn.
You got to do that?
Yep.
Oh, okay. What, so they can see you or something? Or?
It's for collision avoidance. It's called this circuit, or in the U.S. they call it the traffic patterning.
Oh, okay.
So all aircraft do this. They can't just go and land. They always have to do this box.
So one guy can't just cut in front of you?
That's right.
Okay.
So now we're in queue. We're number one. There's nobody else here.
So if somebody was flying from the south, he'd have to still go around?
Yep.
Okay.
Edenvale traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees, turning left base, 3-1, full stop.
So this is when all of our skills get pushed to the limit here, is this whole procedure now. So I got to slow this plane down. I want to get us to roughly 65 knots. And I have to fight turbulence all the way down, which will be really exciting. So right now, the engine's not doing anything for us now. That's idle. Slowing that airspeed needle down, flap number 1, flap number 2, beautiful. And I'm just trying to tame 65 knots the whole way down, and I'm doing that with my stick.
That's what you have to hit the runway with?
Yep.
65? Or whatever?
Yeah, this whole final approach should be flowing at 65, so we never run out of airspeed or go too fast.
Oh, okay.
So when I want to slow down, I just pull harder back on the stick. And if I want to speed up, I push the nose down like that. So right now we're in a big sink there, so I'm going to add a little bit of power to keep us afloat.
Edenvale traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee, turning final, 3-1.
I'm having to add a lot of power. She is a windy day, boy. Doesn't feel like it on the ground, but up here I can tell.
Well, when we were standing there waiting for you, you can notice a bit of a breeze, but it wasn't like, but there's a whole bunch of trees over there deflecting it too, really, really along the edge. But even when I left home, it didn't seem windy. That's why I thought, well.
Yeah.
But when I checked the weather before I called you yesterday, on my app, it said it was supposed to be cloudy and basically shitty days all day.
Edenvale area traffic, Cessna 172 Golf Juliet Indian Mike, currently 10 nautical miles to the north of the airport, 2,500 feet inbound for landing, ETA about 4 minutes.
Simple as that.
I think that's cool.
I'm just keeping that nose in the air a little bit of a wheelie we got going on now that tire touched.
Is that what that thing is on the back? Wheelie bar?
Yeah, that's a skid plate in case we were too aggressive on the nose.
Well, so I seen it there and I told Heather, so that's the wheelie bar. She said, wheelie bar? I said, well, I'm thinking we're going to take off or whatever.
That's right.
Because you see some of them, like I watch the History Channel for all the different planes and shit like that. And some of them, there's the way they're shaped when they take off, you swear they're going to hit.
Yep.